This segment of the video will explain you how to manage payroll and how to process payroll and make payout on Kredily. The very first thing here is to enable payroll. You will have to give it an effective date. I have made it effective from the 1st of April 2019. And you can decide what has to be the basic settings of your account, like pay frequency, which is monthly, that cannot be changed, and you can choose what should be the pay cycle. Should it be 1 to 31st, 1st to 31st, or should it be 25th to 24th, or if it has to be something else, you can decide it as per your organization. And payroll leave and attendance input cycle can also be changed. By default, it is 1st to 31st. You can change it if required. And you can also change the payout date. For my organization, the payout date is 31st. You can change it if you want. And the last option here is payroll date of joining cutoff date for new joinees. For my organization, it is 15th of every month. If you want, you can make changes to it. It can either be 25th or 5th. That can be changed. I'll save it. The next set of settings in your payroll is payday calculations. Here you can choose whether or not to include weekly offs and holidays in your payroll, and consider pending leave application beyond cutoff date as. You can make it as pending, approved, rejected. You can change status for all the pending leave applications. And in the same way, you can also make changes for all the pending leave applications beyond cutoff date. And then you will get an option to consider the pending leaves beyond the cutoff date as LOP. If you turn it on, it will be considered as LOP. If not, it will not be considered as an LOP. You'll also have an option to choose what needs to be done for all the outstanding anomalies beyond the cutoff date. Should it still be in pending? Should it be approved? Should it be rejected? And then last option is consider unapproved absent leaves as LOP. You can either turn it on or turn it off. That's all about the payday calculation settings. And the last set of settings here is your access control. In access control, you can enable or disable the tax projection option for your employees. If you enable this, your employees will be able to look at their tax projection for the whole financial year. That's about your basic payroll settings. The next set of settings is your PF and ESI settings. You will have to first turn on the Provident Fund status if you want PF to be applicable for all the employees in your organization. I've turned it on and I've made it effective from the 1st of April 2019 for my organization. PF can be calculated in multiple ways in Kredily. Kredily is a very open system in terms of calculating PF. You can choose if it has to be a 12% of basic, if it has to be a custom formula, or if it has to be a 12% of basic plus special allowance, if it has to be a fixed amount. Right, you can select all the components. If you say custom formula, you can select the components that are required to calculate PF for your organization. So let me select a few components here: medical allowance, conveyance contribution, vehicle reimbursement, and 12% of it. So I can choose what components is required for me to calculate PF for my organization. And then you can also enable or disable the statutory minimum ceiling, which is 15,000. PF will be calculated only for 15,000 if you enable this option. Statutory minimum is 15,000. That's what it says here. And employer PF contribution can be included in CTC if you want. If you turn on this option, employer PF contribution will be included in employee CTC itself. The next option is allow individual PF override. If you turn on this option, the system will give you an option to make changes for a few employees. I mean, if you want to calculate PF in a different way only for a couple employees or only for one employee, enabling this option will give you a privilege to make changes for only that employee's PF contribution. The last option is include EDLI and PF admin charges in CTC. I have enabled it even for my organization. So now the PF settings is saved. The next set of settings will be ESI settings. I need to turn on the ESI status. I've turned it on and made it effective from the 1st of April. Statutory minimum monthly gross for ESI calculations is 21,000. And employee contribution will be 0.75% of gross salary, and employer contribution will be 3.25% of gross salary. And I'll get an option to include employers' ESI contribution in CTC. In employees CTC, I can turn it on or turn it off. And I will also get an option to allow individual override for my employees. ESI settings are saved now. Last option in ESI and PF settings is your overview. This is the place where you will get an option to make changes or override your employees' ESI and PF contributions. Let me show you how to do that. You can just click on the edit option to make changes. So for Shikhar, PF is applicable for him. If I want, I can turn it off as well. I can add his PF number, PF date joined, UAN number, EPS number. Everything can be entered. And if I have to override his PF, I can turn on the PF override option, and I can add the custom formula or the flat amount that I'm going to add for Shikhar. And the same goes with ESI as well. ESI is not applicable for Shikhar though, but if you want to make changes, you can enable the ESI override option, and then you can make changes to his ESI contributions as well. I'll save this. That's all about ESI and PF settings. And also you will get an option to make changes or override PF in bulk. You can just click on the import option, download an Excel sheet here, update all information in the Excel sheet and upload the same Excel sheet here to make changes. The next option is PT settings. In PT settings, you can turn on PT and you can select all states. For my organization, I have selected all states. But if you only want to select a couple states, you can just search for the state name and add that state. But it's good to have all states so that you don't have to worry about the PT calculations if in case you have employees in more than one state. And I'll also enable PT state override option, and I'll save it. The next option is your declaration settings. Here an HR administrator will get an option to turn on the declaration window, and he can choose what should be the declaration window. For my organization, I have made it yearly, but if you want, you can also make it monthly. So in this case, it is yearly, and I've made it effective from, or the window is open from 30th of June. 30th of June to 6th of September. That's the window I have given for my organization. Then I can either apply to all employees or having a taxable income, or I can search for employees that I want to apply this for. Let me say it's applied to all, and I will save the settings. Then I also have an option to turn on the mandatory proof submission option. If I turn on this option, if I turn on this option, my employees will have to submit proofs for all the declarations that they are making. The next option is payout settings. In payout settings, you will get an option to add all the bank information and payout related information of all your employees. And I have already added all the information here for my organization. If you look at Saranya Das Gupta's example, the payment mode is bank transfer, the bank account name, bank name, bank account number, branch name, everything is added already. If you want to make changes, you can make changes. Or if you want to add this information in bulk, you can click on the import option, download an Excel sheet, add all the bank information in that Excel sheet and upload the same Excel sheet here. And that will update bank details of all your employees in your organization. The last option is Payslip settings. In Payslip settings, you have 4 different payslip formats. You can select any one of these 4 formats. I have selected the 4th format for my organization. And Kredily is also integrated with ICICI Bank. I will be sharing a link to another video which will explain you the whole process of how to integrate Kredily with ICICI Bank to make payouts, to make payments. I will leave a link in the description box. The next option is declarations. Here It will display all the declarations that are made by your employees. So for my organization, you can look at Vivek's declaration here. He has declared his HRA. He's also added a couple documents, his address, his monthly rent, his landlord name. Everything is added by Vivek. I will have to look into this details before I approve. And also he has added his deductions, his section 80C. He's declared it as 70,000 and his other exemptions are declared as 90,000. No documents uploaded whatsoever. He's not uploaded anything in income or loss from house property. LTA, income from previous employer, is not declared. An employee can declare that as well. The next option is salary structure. In Kredily, you will get an option to create any number of salary components and define them as per your organization preference. In base components, you can see we have basic, HRA, PF employer, ESI employer, and special allowance. And then we have recurring salary components. We already have added the frequently used salary components, frequently used recurring salary components, which are medical allowance, leave travel allowance, conveyance contribution, vehicle reimbursement, and phone reimbursement gratuity is already added. You can make changes to all the existing components by just clicking on their name. You can even change the name of the component. In this case, it is medical allowance. You can change the component type, if it is allowance, reimbursement, contribution, if it has to be included in CTC, if proof required for it or not, is it taxable or not, if it has to be overridden individually, if it is LOP dependent. Everything can be changed. Let me show you how to add a component here. Now I'm creating this component called internet allowance. And the component type will be allowance. Included in CTC, yes. Proofs not required. It is taxable. Individual override, yes. And yes, it is LOP dependent as well. And now calculation type, I can either choose it as flat or slab wise. If I say flat, I can just enter a flat amount. For example, 10,000 rupees. 10,000 is the flat value for this component. Or I can say slab wise. If I say slab wise, it gives me an option to add value slab wise. Now, if my salary is between 0 to 3 lakhs, internet allowance component should be 8,000. If my salary is between 3 lakh to 5 lakh, let me say the component will be 6,000. And if this component is, if my salary is 5 lakhs to 7 lakhs, then this component will be, the component value will be 4,000. So this way I can also give a value to it slab wise. I'll save. And then I'll go to the next set of salary components, which is variable. We have already added 3 different variable salary components which are frequently used by most of the companies in India. If you want, you can create another component or you can edit the existing component. Let me take annual bonus and let me try to make changes to the component annual bonus. I can change name, which I'm not doing. I can choose the payout frequency, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, annually. I'll say it is annual. And what's the due month? I'll say the due month will be June. It's included in CTC, yes. It is taxable, yes. And should tax be calculated one time or should it be distributed across the rest of the year? I'll choose the second option, distribute tax across rest of the year. And this component has a flat value, which is 15% of CTC. If required, I can also give it slab wise. And if you want, you can create another component, like I said. The last set of salary component is your ad hoc. I've already added 3 ad hoc components for my organization in ad hoc earning. And if I want, I can add another component here. Let me add another component. I'm adding performance bonus. It is taxable, yes. Save it. In the same way, I can also add another component in ad hoc deduction. I've already added two, loan advance and LWF. I'm adding another ad hoc deduction here. I'll name it as penalty deduction. I will save it. So you can add any number of ad hoc earning components or ad hoc deduction component here. Once all the salary components are added, once all the salary components are defined, then it is time for us to gather all the components and create a salary structure. So I'll go to structure now. So for my organization, I've already created these many salary structures. You can also create another salary structure if you need. Let me show you how to create a new salary structure. I just clicked on create new salary structure and I'm going to give it a name. My new salary structure. And I can add a description to it. For all employees in the organization. And then I can make changes or add all the salary components here. So let me say in this salary structure, the basic should be 30% of CTC, and I will change HRA as 25% of basic. PF is system calculated, ESI also is system calculated. Special allowance is a balancing amount of CTC. Then I can add more components here. So I've created a lot of components, let me add them. I will add internet allowance, which I just created. And I will also add medical allowance. And I will add conveyance contribution. And I will also add annual bonus. So this is my salary structure. So these are the components I have in my salary structure, which is named as my new salary structure. Then I will go to apply salary structure option to apply or assign this salary structure to my employees. So let me assign this salary structure to one of my employee here. I am assigning this to Navdeep Saini with employee ID ICC 25. I'll select him, I'll click on assign rules, I'll select my salary structure, I'll give it an effective date, 1st of July, and apply it. So now you can see that the salary structure is applied for Navdeep Saini. This is how you will assign a salary structure to your employees. You can even select multiple employees and assign salary structure, or if you want to make one salary structure as a default salary structure for your organization, you can go to that salary structure and you can click on set as company default button that you see towards your top right. Click on that button and give it an effective date. And this salary structure will become your company default salary structure. So here you can see this salary structure with the name sales structure has been made as company default salary structure. So this will be applicable for all my employees by default. Even if you add an employee tomorrow, by default this salary structure will be assigned to him. So after salary structure is assigned for all your employees, you can click on overview to look at all the salary information, the breakup, the component wise breakup, annual breakup, monthly breakup for your employees. So this is for my organization. I can turn off the annual breakup option to look at my monthly salary breakup. CTC, basic, HRA, PF, monthly incentive, vehicle reimbursement, all my components is shown here. And also you can do the bulk edit by selecting your employees here. You can select employees that you want to make changes to, then click on bulk edit and you can make changes that are required in their profile. And also you can override the salary components, or you can bulk import the salary components by clicking on the import option. You can either update only CTC, or you can update CTC and components. If you want to update only CTC, you can click on update only CTC option, download an Excel sheet, put all the CTC information and upload the Excel sheet here. Or if you want to add these components and CTC for individual employees, you can just click on the edit option, which is to your right, and add CTC information for your employees. Once all of the settings is done, the last option is run payroll. In run payroll, you will get an option to process payroll for the current month by verifying all the data that you have added so far. You will see these 6 options which has to be verified, in which the first option is leave an attendance. It is giving me the detail that Vivek Kumar has applied for a leave on 16th of August. Should I approve it or reject it? And also I'm notifying this to Vivek's manager, which is Poonam Yadav. And also I'm approving Vivek's leave request. Leave is approved for Vivek. Then the attendance details should also be verified. In attendance, the system is giving me the data of all employees who are present and absent for the current month. So it is showing me that my employees are absent for so many days, and there are no outstanding anomalies for my employees. And it is also showing me the LOP days. So if I have to add LOP manually, I can click on add an employee here and search for that employee. So now let me give an LOP to Vivek Kumar. I'll search for Vivek, and I'm giving him 2 days of LOP. I'll just write 2 and I will save it. Once it is saved, LOP will be automatically added to Vivek's salary. The next option is your salary revision. This will show all the employees whose salary is being revised for the current month. In my case, there is no employee who's having a salary revision. The next option is your variable and ad hoc. So these many employees in my organization are having a variable pay for the current month. So all of them are getting monthly incentive. Also, I can add ad hoc payment for my employees if required. Now let me give an ad hoc payment for a couple of my employees. I'll click on add employee. I'll search for the employee's name, Shikhar. For Shikhar, I'm giving him an ad hoc earning which is a performance bonus. I'm giving him 4,500 as an ad hoc earning, which is performance bonus. And then I'll add another employee here, Hardik Pandya. I'm going to give him a deduction. The deduction's name is penalty deduction. So I'm going to deduct 900 rupees from his salary as penalty deduction. So I've given an ad hoc earning for Shikhar and an ad hoc deduction for Hardik Pandya. And the next option is salary on hold. So Manasi Joshi has joined in the current month, so her salary is held because she's a new employee. For my organization, her salary will be paid in the coming month. But if you want to hold somebody's salary, add employee here and salary on hold, you can search for that employee's name and you can say the pay action as on hold so that this employee's salary will be held. And the next option is tax override. If you want to make changes to your employee's income tax or professional tax, you can add that employee and make changes to their tax deductions. For an example, if you want to make changes to Shikhar's income tax, you can search for Shikhar and you can put the value that you want to change. So I can put it as 0, or I can make it as 1,000 rupees tax deduction for the current month. Not making any changes to Shikhar, I'm just showing you how to make changes to or how to override income tax. The same goes with your professional tax as well. If you want to make changes to any of your employees' professional tax, in this case, let me take an example of Ravindra Singh. If I don't want to deduct professional tax for Ravindra Singh, I can make his professional tax as 0. I can reduce it to 100 rupees. I can put any value that I want. Once you override all income tax and professional tax, you need to verify this. So this is the pay register for the current month. So I'm looking at the salary breakup for the current month. You can export it to an Excel sheet if required. You can click on the export option, and that will download a file which will be stored in your file manager. You can always refer to that sheet. Once your payroll is once you verify all the data, you can click on Run Payroll button. You need to confirm before you process payroll. And once your payroll is processed, you can also click on Generate Payslip option. So this will generate payslips for all your employees, and your employees will get an option to download their payslips through their profile. So that's about how to process payroll using Kredily. So now I will also show you how an employee can look at his payslip. So now I'm going to Vivek's profile. I'll go to Payroll Payslip. So this is Vivek's payslip. So this is the total earnings and deductions that Vivek has for the current month. If needed, Vivek can also download his payslip, and that will be stored in his file manager. And Vivek can also look at his salary structure, his monthly salary breakup, his annual salary breakup, and he can also look at his tax projections for the whole financial year. And this is where Vivek will do his income tax investment declarations. So he can add all his deductions here. He can upload documents. He can click on edit to make changes because he's already added the details. He can add section 80C. He can add other exemptions. He's already added a couple entries here. If you want to add a new rental information, he can click on add new house rental declaration, and he can add all the details that are required. And an employee can also add house property details. He can add a property and add its respective details. Once all of this is done, once all of the investment declaration is done, an employee can click on review and submit. He can look at all the information and he can submit his declarations. And also, employee will get an option to look at his Form 12BB. So this is Form 12BB for Vivek Kumar. He can also download the form. The last option here is bank account. He can also look at his bank account details. So this is everything about how to process payroll, how to generate payslips for your employees using Kredily. And now let us have a look at how to add an employee. So to add an employee, you can click on the add employee option here, and you can add all the mandatory information like first name, middle name, last name. Let me add an employee here. Kedar Jadhav, and his employee ID, ICC212, official email address. I'm adding a phone number, his date of joining, date of birth. I can choose his department. I can add a designation. I can add a reporting manager to him, his work location, his employee type, and I should also give him a probation period. Then I'll also add him, give him a CTC. I'll save the information. So Kedar Jadhav is successfully added to Kredily, and this is how you will add one employee. But if you have to add employees in bulk, you can click on the add employee option here in directory. You can download the Excel format to add all employees in one shot. Then the Excel will be downloaded, and this is how the Excel sheet will look like. You will have to fill all the information here. The blue columns are mandatory. You can add all the information like your employee ID, first name, last name, official email address, date of birth, date of joining, gender, contact number can be added. And once all the data is added, you can upload the same Excel sheet by clicking on the upload Excel sheet option in directory. That's how you will add an employee individually or in bulk. And at last, you also have this support button here in the dashboard. So at any point in time, if you think you need support, you can click on the support option and you get quick links to understand how to use the product. You can just click on anything and you will get an explainer video about that particular module. And you can also chat with us, you can call us, you can write an email to us. If you have any questions at any point in time, you can write to us at support@kredily.com. So that's about the whole product. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope this video was helpful. Please do contact us if in case you have any questions to ask us. Thank you so much. Happy payrolling.